Hello, it's Phillip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers. I'm talking about a book which comes out every year called the Conveyancers Yearbook. This year that I'm reviewing at the moment is the yearbook for 2008. It's an interesting book. It's published by Shaw and Sons, and the person who writes it is a guy called Russell Hewitson, who's a solicitor. What I've done is I've reviewed this book now for about 3 or 4 years, and on the various internet websites I've given it some slightly different titles depending on which year it is, because each year property law is being sort of assessed and updated. So for the 2008 edition I said Hewitson remains the ultimate busy property practitioner's Bible for 2008. Now there's quite a lot of words there, but in essence it's very useful as a book if you're a busy guy dealing with this area of your practice. He's a Sunderland solicitor, is Russell Hewitson, and what he does each year is he maintains and consolidates the outstanding standard of landlord detail which he sets to basically put across each year when the edition comes out, and every time it comes out it lives up to what we expect it to have in it, because it obviously deals with those aspects of a property practitioner's world. The 2008 edition, like its predecessors in title, gives us an up-to-date and accessible ready reference guide to some of the most important changes in the law and practice of conveyancing. Now, conveyancing is obviously a wide range of activities, and whilst that's the title, it has a general applicability, certainly for anybody who is reading English land law, say at university. In the previous edition, the 2007 edition, we had the discussion about the introduction of the Home Information Packs, HIPs, and obviously there's a dedicated section now dealing with this particular issue, and Mr. Hewitson has introduced a new part covering the energy performance requirements to reflect current concerns over local and global environmental issues. Obviously the economic downturn is going to limit the number of properties certainly being bought and sold, but you've still got these particular requirements, and certainly the view about HIPs has been mixed in terms of its reaction. This year there are 7 parts to the yearbook. It begins with recent cases and legislation, then has a more detailed look at recent changes which have taken place in the year. We've got a new part this year, as I say, for HIPs, Part D, followed by a statement on the Finance Act 2007, and there's also a comment on the pre-budget report of 2007 with information on stamp duty land tax. And obviously there's going to be a lot of publicity about this as we look towards 2009 and 10. Mr. Hewitson concludes this edition with detail on the emerging overview of energy performance of buildings, which I alluded to earlier, and I suspect this is going to expand, notwithstanding all the other issues, as I've indicated, concerning the economic situation at the moment. What he says, and I just mention a little quote here, he says that websites are notorious for changing their addresses without notice. So what he's tried to do is to put as much current information he's got. Obviously on the internet, with the websites I have, it's difficult for me to mention URLs because some of them specifically excluded. The only way to get around that is to Google, and in order to do that you can obviously get the information, but it's just a roundabout way of doing it. And as in previous years, this particular edition, a 2008 edition, describes recent case law, which I think is a boon, certainly for students. gives the summary of facts concerned, the court's decision, and a nice commentary on the practical implications of what's been decided. And that, to my mind, is of great value if you're doing examinations, because it's the practical issues which emerge from the problem cases that you need to look at. Also, current books are covered and articles which have been published relating specifically to the practitioner, and I think again this keeps up with the legal and practical changes throughout the year. And I think I would be fair to make the comment that Hewitson's reference guide is reflected by the sort of full information he gives on modern law and practice, without constantly having to go to a specialist periodical for information. In other words, it remains an easy accessible yearbook which points the practitioner in the right direction for the intense detail which you might need from a heavyweight publication, depending on what the client has as a problem that you need to look at. Whilst the book remains slim and fits nicely in the pocket, it's quite clearly by no means lightweight in its content. It's not aimed to be comprehensive in that sense, or a textbook substitute, but its prime aim is to give quick reference to the main important changes in conveyancing and property issues generally. It gives very useful addresses, current addresses of the main websites and details of land registry publications and so forth. Hewitson's yearbook is clearly a publication which any conveyancer should have, certainly in their own office. It's ready, obviously, to use, and it should be used pretty regularly. It's a relatively simple yearbook too, which deals with the intricacies of conveyancing in a straightforward and formidable manner, if I can put it that way. And it remains, in my view, very current, due to Russell Hewitson's diligence and knowledge of the subject. And as I've said before, I think it goes to a wider group of people now as well, because certainly when I was studying and also when I've been teaching land law, I like to have a much better general picture, and that's what this gives. So thank you very much, Russell. Bye bye for now.